Hi my Polygon primitives, it's your 3D girl AB, and in this video we are going to go over the fundamentals for Substance Painter or Substance 3D Painter. You should have already downloaded and prepared the model for this tutorial from the last tutorial. Check in the description below for the link to part 1 if you have not done so already. Now we are going to go to File, press New. For Select Template, we can select the first one. Go to Select. Go to where you have the character model saved. I'm going to choose 2048 for document resolution. You can keep these unchecked. And you can check Use UV Tile Workflow. Press OK. And here you will see your model. To zoom in the model, you can use middle mouse. To rotate, hold on to Alt and left click. To pan, hold on to Alt and middle mouse. Now, as you can see, there's a light on it. To change the direction of the light, I can hold on to Shift, right click, and go right to left, and you can see the direction of the light change. You can affect how the light looks by going to Environment by pressing this icon here. If I bring up Environment Opacity, you can see an environment starting to appear here. And if I bring up Environment Blur, or if I bring down Environment Blur, you can see the environment. I can change the environment by going to where it says Environment Map. And here is a list of different environments that you can change it to. I'm going to bring back up the blur, bring back down the opacity. Now we are going to go over materials. If you look on the left side, you will see different things including the materials and brushes. We're going to focus first on just materials, so I'm going to press this icon here. And then we only have materials. I can select a material, for example this one, bring it over my model, and choose which part of the model that I want to have the material, let go. I can control the scale of the material here. I can rotate the material here. When I applied the material, it added a new layer right here. I'm going to delete this layer. And before I explain further layers, let's look at the different parts of the model. If you look up here, you will see different parts of the model titled AI Standard Surface, and then a certain number and letters are assigned to it. So if I click this icon right here, you will see that the gloves disappeared. I'm going to click it again for them to reappear. So this layer under Texture Set List is for the gloves. Now I can also just only focus on just the gloves by pressing this icon here. The rest of the model disappears and only the gloves show. I'm going to press the icon again to make the rest of the model show. Now to make this easier to navigate, I can double click here and rename it gloves. So I'm going to pause the video here and take time to name different parts of the model by going through your texture set list and seeing which part is for which. After naming different parts of the model, we are going to bake mesh maps To do that, go to Edit and Bake Mesh Maps. After seeing if all of these are selected, I'm going to go to the top. I'm going to change it to 2048. And I'm going to press Bake Selected Textures. Press OK. And if you go to Texture Set Settings, you will see different maps here. These maps help to add information to your model. Now let's go back to layers. So the first type of layer that we are going to go over, I'm going to move this to the side so I can see the 3D view better. So the first type of layer we are going to go over is the fill layer. I'm going to do this on the head. So I'm going to select head, and I'm going to press this icon right here for the fill layer. So if you look under properties, you will see color, height, roughness, metal, and normals. So first let's focus on color. I'm going to deselect these, and as you can see, only color is here. I'm going to double click this bar right here and pick a color. So I'm going to go with a yellow. As you can see, as I'm choosing the color changes on that part of the model. I'm going to make the yellow a little bit brighter. Not too bright. Or maybe we should make it a little bit, have a little bit tint of a brown in it. So we chose a color for our model. Again, I can change the light by pressing Shift, right click to see it more clearly. Now I'm going to add another fill layer. I'm going to bring the layer with the color above that layer. And for this layer, I'm only going to have height selected. So there we see height. I'm going to go to my materials, see if there's a material that I can use. I'm going to type soil or no soil, so let's try ground. There's a ground material. There we go. So I'm going to take this material and I'm going to drop it right in here. So as you can see, the ground is underneath the colors. So the color stays the same, but you can see the texture of the ground. If I hide the color layer, you will see what color automatically comes with the ground material. So I'm going to put back the color. I'm going to go back to where it says ground. I'm going to deselect color, roughness, and metal, and I'm only going to have height. I can go down here. So here I can change the scale of the gravel in the material and the amount of gravel. Going back to my fill layer, If you remember, here I only had color selected. I'm then going to add another fill layer. I'm going to take off color so that the color from before can appear. I'm going to take off height, metal, and normal, but I'm going to leave roughness. So roughness affects how smooth or how wet something looks. So if I go closer to black, you will see it becomes shinier. If I go closer to white, it looks a little bit more dry. So I want it to be about right here. Now let's go over a paint layer. Well, before we go over the paint layer, let me show you the metal. I'm going to add another fill layer, and I'm going to deselect color, deselect height, deselect roughness, and deselect normal. Now here we have metal. So if you look on your left, as I move it, how shiny the material looks changes. I don't want metal for this, so I'm going to delete this layer now. Now I'm going to show you normal. I am going to go and add another fill layer. I'm going to deselect color, deselect height, deselect roughness, deselect metal, and then as you can see, there's this purplish bar right here. I can click on the normal. I can choose the normal that we baked from before. So this is the head, so I'm going to type in head, and here's the normal that we baked, and that normal will be added inside here. So normal helps to add just a little bit more information to your model. Another thing that I can add for more information is the ambient occlusion. To do that, I'm going to go to texture set settings. Next to channels, I'm going to press this plus sign, and I'm going to press ambient occlusion. When I do that, here you will see where it says AO, that's the ambient occlusion. So if I add another fill layer, and I deselect color, deselect height, deselect roughness, deselect metal, deselect normal, and keep my ambient occlusion, I can press right here, type the word head, because that's what we named that layer, and look for the ambient occlusion for head. Here it is right here. So I'm going to double click it. And if I deselect the other layers, you can see some of it right here. I'm going to reselect the other layers now. I'm going to go into my layer that has the ambient occlusion. I'm going to name it AO to help me remember that it's for my ambient occlusion. I'm going to bring this color layer above it. Also, just like in Photoshop, here we see normal, you can affect the look of the layers by pressing that. And you have different options such as multiply, lighten max, and so forth and so on. Not only do you have fill layers, but you also have paint layers. By pressing this icon, you can add a paint layer. Then I'm going to go over here. I'm going to remove the word ground that I typed earlier, and I'm going to press this icon, and this is where my brushes are. So for example, I can select this brush, or I can type here, up here, because I want to make eyebrows. I'll choose this brush. Here, you can see how the brush looks. You can adjust the size of the brush, the flow of the brush, and the opacity of the brush. You can even also change the angle of the brush, and then you can test it right here. I want to change the color of my brush, so I'm going to go down, see where it says base color, and I'm going to choose, let's choose a gray for right now. I'm going to go over my model, And I'm going to press this icon up here for symmetry. I can also affect my brush up here, so I'm going to bring down the size. Let's bring it up just a little bit. Adjusting it. And then what I do on one side appears on another side. So I just made 2 eyebrows. I'm going to press Ctrl Z to undo that. And this time I'm going to press height. I'm going to go down. As you can see, there's height right here. I'm going to bring this down so you can see it clearly. If I bring it closer to white and I make the eyebrows, it goes inside the model. I'm going to undo that. If I bring it closer to the white on the other side, it rises. I'm going to leave the head alone for a second, and I'm going to go to Pants to show you how to use Smart Materials. So here we have our layer. I'm going to remove the word here. This icon right here is for Smart Materials. So I can press Smart Materials, and I'm going to type the word fabric. So here we have different fabrics right here. So this is fabric denim and fabric superhero. Fabric baseball hat, fabric burlap. I think I'm going to go with, let's go with fabric flannel tartan. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to bring it right here on the pants. Because this is a Smart Material, I can press this icon right here, the folder, to open it, and there's many things that I can change. For example, if I press this right here, I can change the color. So if I want it to be more blue, it's more blue. I can change the colors of the others as well to get it more of what I want. I can also, if I want to use this same material on the strap, I can press Ctrl C to copy, look for strap in here, go to my layers and press Ctrl V, and it will appear there as well. I can also make a Smart Material. So to do that, let me go to shoes. And add a fill layer. And I decide to make the color a dark brown. Going to add another fill layer underneath it. Going to go to my materials, see what I can use for it. It's a leather material here. I put it there so I can have that texture. Going to bring this layer above it. I'm going to take off the others except for height. I can add another fill layer above it. Again, take off everything but color. go to the color right here. I can take this dropper, select a dark brown here, and then adjust it if I want it to be darker. I can then add a mask, so I can right click, add, for example, a black mask, and it disappears, but if I draw over it, wherever I draw, it appears through. So I'm going to undo that. I can remove this mask by right clicking above it and go to remove mask, and this time I can add a white mask. Now if I add a white mask, it doesn't disappear, but if I go over it, the layer underneath it, the other color, appears through it. I can change my brush, so I'm going to remove fabric, press the brush, and let me type dirt to see if there's a brush for dirt. So I'll press dirt 1, and after changing my brush, I'm still in my mask layer, and I'm gonna use that to give a kind of a rusty look for the color to come through it. Now that I have this, showing you how, I am still again showing you how to make a smart material. I'm then going to press this folder icon above it, press the one at the top, then while holding on to shift, press the one at the bottom. I'm going to bring them all into this folder. I can name this folder shoes. I can right click it and go to create smart material. And the material that we just made called shoes appears right here. So if I want to put shoes on a different part, like for example on the gloves, I can do that, and the material that we just made appears there. I'm going to press Ctrl Z to undo that. Also, another way that you can reveal or hide part of a material with a mask is by pressing this icon right here. So I have this mask right here. I'm going to press this icon right here, and as you can see the different squares of your UVs, and I can just drag over the parts that I want affected. And then if I take it off by pressing another icon like the paint one, you can see what parts were revealed from what I selected earlier. Not only can I control the height of a brush stroke, but I can also control the height of a material. So on this glove, I had chosen the fabric baseball hat material. I'm going to put another layer over it. I'm going to take off everything but height. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to type fabric. Here where it says alphas, I'm going to click that. And I'm going to take this one that says fold, and I'm going to put it inside height. Now you can see the different parts right here. Now it doesn't look good on the glove. Now this is not what I want for the glove, but this is just for the demonstration. As you can see, when we put in the alpha, you can see here where it says fold. Now to control the height, I can go up to here where it says base color, press the drop down and go to height. Once I press that, here where it says LDGE and it says 100, I can go to where it says 100, I can bring it down. As you can see, if you look at your left, as I adjust it, the height of the material changes. I can also scroll up here under properties and change the scale so that you can see it better. So after changing the scale, I'm going to go back. Under LDGE, go to where it says 81 because that's where I left it. And again, I'm going to change it, and as you can see, the height is affected. Once I bring it to the height that I want, I can go back up here and bring it back to base color. Again, this is not what I want for the glove, so I'm going to delete this layer by pressing this icon right here. So now you have an understanding of a fill layer and a paint layer and how to use masks. Now play around in Substance 3D Painter with your model and see what you can come up with. I am going to continue texture this model. When you are done texturing your model, you will need to export the textures. To do that, you are going to go to File and Export Textures. Here's all the different parts of the models, and their textures will be exported. If you only want specific parts of the model to be exported, you can uncheck the ones that you don't want. For example, if I only want body and button, I can uncheck the others. I want everything, so I'm going to keep everything checked. I can choose the output template here. I'm going to keep it where it is, where it says PBR metallic roughness. I am then going to press here to choose where the textures will be exported to. So after you choose where you want the textures to be exported to, you press select folder, and then you press export. After exporting your textures, go to where you have chosen to export it to, and there you will see the different texture maps. For example, here is the normal for the head of the model. It will let you know what parts are for which in the title of each texture map. So those are the basics of texturing a model in Substance 3D Painter. In the next video, we are going to go over how to apply those textures to your model in Maya.